Hey guys, it's Beth, and today I'm back with a bundle of items that I made using scraps from my Happy Fall pad, and they all kind of have like a homemade, home-baked gift type touch to them. But first, let's get some of this business out of the way. Again, I'm using the Happy Fall pad by Craftsmith. For those of you who have the Happy Fall pad and were crafting along with me, again, I would love to see your pictures and how you're using your pad, what you're making. So be sure that if you're sharing on YouTube or on social media to use the hashtag BCCraftsHappyFall and to tag me at Bourbon Creek Crafts. And then I'm also doing a collaboration with Leah over at Ode to Paper, and this is just a, like any fall pad collaboration. She's using another Michael's pad. Hers is Hearth and Home, I believe, from Craft Smart. And so our collaboration is called Fall Paper Pads Unite. If you have any fall pad or collection that you would like to do some fall crafts along with us and use, then please join us. And if you share videos or pictures, use the hashtag Fall Paper Pads Unite and tag Leah and or myself. All of this information will be in the description box below for you, but hope we're all enjoying some fall crafts. Okay, so the business is out of the way. Now we can get into the good stuff. So I kind of just use scraps for everything that I have in front of me. What I started out with were these little tags, and I figured these would be cute tags, like if you do a gift in a jar, or you could wrap it around bread, whatever. But this was actually a cut apart from the pad, and I didn't do any personal scrapbook pages that involved like fall baking or Thanksgiving dinner or anything like that, and it didn't fit in any of the mini albums I did, nor did I think it would be great on a card. So I was like, what can I do to not waste this cut apart? So I decided to turn it into like a homemade, home-baked gift tag. So I, turned the top into a tag, just cut off the corners, and then I did round the bottom corners. Punched a hole, I added some gold ribbon, and it's kind of a stiff gold ribbon, and I didn't want to have to like loop it and tie it, so I just used some gold and white twine to secure my ribbon at the top. And then on the back side, hopefully you can read this, it says homemade with care, and there are some lines then that you could write like what it is or maybe some instructions for it, and then it says from the kitchen of. And these are just a combination of several different like homemade or baking stamp sets that I have. But I just figured, somebody could do a gift in a jar, add some twine, tie it around the top of the jar. You could do the same thing and tie it around a loaf of bread. You could have a basket of goodies or a box of cookies or something, and then use this as kind of the gift tag. Along those lines, I also did some bread wraps, because I don't do it much in the fall, but at Christmas time I do a lot of quick bread and gift that out to family and friends. And so I had started making bread wraps for myself, and actually found out that there are others who do the same thing and were interested. So I do these for craft show mainly in the fall. But this is just a simple strip of paper. I think this one is 1.5 inches wide by 12 inches long. And there are times where I've done more of a decorative edge on it, either used a border punch or some decorative edge scissors. This one I just kind of kept simple because I loved the flower pattern on the paper. And then to embellish the top, this just says, there's a little cut apart that says good food. And then I have like some different scrapped circles that I had left from the pad. So you could like I've done before, where there's just a blank tag or blank circle where you could write in, what kind of bread it is, or you could tuck a little tag here that has like what the bread is. But at 12 inches long, this will fit around a pint-sized jar. You'll have an overlap. And I have found that a small loaf of quick bread is about the same size as a pint-sized jar, so it'll also fit a small loaf of quick bread. And this is a quart-size jar. And it fits around here too. You have just a little bit of a gap that you could cover or you could tape. I don't know that anybody would, mind that there's a gap in the back. And I've found that a large loaf of quick bread is about the same like circumference as a quart-sized jar. So a 12-inch wrap would fit a quart-sized and a pint-sized jar and a small or large loaf of quick bread. Now, if you're making a loaf of white bread or wheat bread that tends to be taller, this isn't going to fit all the way around. You could add extensions to it, and make it fit that. Or you could do something like this and just use some twine to tie up the bread and then add a tag on top. But this fits the quick breads really well, and that's usually what I do. So I got 2 of those. And then I did some Hershey's nugget packs. Just use cardstock as the base. And then this one is really made of random scraps from the pad. The template I have, and if I can find that, I will link it below. Just called, I think it's like 1 3/8 by 3-inch strips, and so I just found scraps that would fit that, and that's why this one just kind of is a mix of all the papers in the pack. Whereas this one, I had a bunch of these scraps, these 2 patterns left, so this one was kind of more of a coordinated set. The other thing I did a handful of were hot cocoa packets. I just used an envelope as my packet, and it is a business size envelope that was sealed. I cut it in half, but I think I ended up trimming it down a little bit more. So it's about 4 3/4, I think, by 4 1/8 inches, what the dimensions are once I cut it down. And I just used, there's different paper on the front and the backs of these. I just used whatever scraps I had that would fit. And then I tried to use up the non-sentiment type cut-aparts, the little label size cut-aparts, and I just grouped a bunch of them together. Like this one says happiness, pumpkins, pumpkin spice, and harvest. Here's one that's already packaged, so hopefully you can see through the glare. But it says October, fall delights, baking, and harvest. And you can see there's 2 different patterns there. Tasty treats, fall gathering, pumpkin spice, fall into a good time. And this one is fall into a good time, fall delights, pumpkins, and baking. And that one actually has the same on both sides. So really quick, really easy. And then on the inside, I did cut a notch here at the top just to make it easier to pull out. But I just have a Nestle hot chocolate packet in here, and then a Tootsie Roll caramel apple pop. At Christmas, I like to stick in a candy cane so that if somebody wants to use the candy cane as a stir stick and get more of a peppermint hot cocoa flavor, they can. I haven't found anything real great for fall. I would love to find some individually wrapped cinnamon sticks that weren't super expensive, because I think it would be nice to have a little bit of a cinnamon hot cocoa flavor. But I haven't found that yet. So, and I know cinnamon sticks, I've done hot apple cider, or the apple cider packets before, and a cinnamon stick would go great with that, but I couldn't find I want them pre-packaged so that I'm not handling them, and just randomly sticking them in there. So that's kind of why I went with the sucker idea on this one. At least it's a fall themed sucker. And even if you don't want to add a little bit of, you could use it as a stir stick and add a caramel flavor to your hot cocoa. I've had people do that before. Or, you can just eat it or give it to your kid and they can eat the caramel apple sucker. And these come in a bag that looks like this, the caramel apple pops. I just found them at our grocery store. And it says families pack. There were just over 20 in there, the bag that I used. So that's those. And then I had left one open so I could pull it out and show you, but this is what it looks like packaged up. I don't add a topper or anything, and I just use, this is a bag that fits an A2 size card. So I believe these are from Clear Bags, and I will link them below if I can find the code for that. But the A2 size bag fits these perfectly. So, and then for the nugget packs, these are the Wilton pretzel bags again. I use those for my pencil packs and for the nuggets. So then the last thing I did, and I will actually make one of these with you, was a wine bottle tag. And I just used, this is a 3x4 inch cut apart, and I just made my tag wide enough so that I didn't even have to cut down the cut apart. So just trying to keep it simple, keep it fast. So normally if I'm making a bunch of wine tags, I will just run it through my silhouette and let the silhouette cut the tag shape and cut all the, different elements that I'm adding to the tag. But if I'm just making one-off ones, kind of like this, I do have a template that I use. I made it based off of one of them that came out of my silhouette. And it's just like a 9-inch. This one is 9 by 2 7/8 is what my black template is. This one I made 9 by 3, just so I could fit the cut apart on there. And you want to use cardstock or a thicker pattern paper, because once you add, like this, I wouldn't use this by itself, but once I've added all my layered pieces, it's actually fairly sturdy. But this is my 9 by 3-inch piece of pattern paper. I have gone ahead and used a die to die cut a circle out of the top, and that was just to kind of save time for camera. You could use a punch here, you could use a die. I think my die is like 1 3/4 inch, so it gives me a 1 3/4 inch circle. So then you want to come in and score the back at 2 3/4, and that will give you your fold for where it will hang over your bottle. So use whatever scoring tool you have, and then you can kind of see that folds and then will hang over your bottle. I recommend doing your scoring first and then cutting or punching your circle, just so you can get it centered a little bit better. I had wanted to do my circle first to save time, so I kind of did it backwards. And then as far as putting all the pieces on, I just used, like, this gold paper here was a scrap that size. I didn't cut it, I just used it as it was. This is another scrap. I didn't cut it. I think I trimmed it down lengthwise. So it's not the same size, but was just trying to use up the scrap. So it's about 2 by 4 3/4 inches, I think, is what I have here. And I went ahead and added score tape to the back just to make it quicker to put together on camera. You can use score tape, you can use a strong wet glue. If you are selling these, I would suggest using, a really strong adhesive, not a tape runner. If you're just gifting it and you don't really care what happens to it after you gift it, you can use a tape runner. But if you're selling it, like I sell these, and so they get handled, a lot at the craft shows. And then I've also had people tell me, that somebody bought a tag from me and gifted it to someone, and then whoever received the tag actually kind of gifted it to someone else. So it gets passed along. So if you want it to have any kind of longevity, then I would suggest an adhesive stronger than a tape runner. So I went ahead and added the score tape to the back of my cut apart too, to make it quick. And then, so I think I was talking when I was doing this, I just centered this vertically and horizontally on the bottom part of my tag. And then I'm going to center this on my little gold scrap there. This is actually a little bit thinner than my tag, which is fine. Oh, and I forgot to cut my fishtail. So I had cut a really shallow fishtail on here anyway, so I should still be able to do that. So I'm just going to find what looks like to center, cut up a little bit, go to one corner and cut in to my line that I cut, and then I always turn it over to make it easier to get the other side as well. And now I need to trim that up a little bit. So my silhouette will cut the fishtail for me sometimes too. So if I'm in a hurry and making a bunch, I will just let the silhouette do it for me. Okay. So now on here I've added a little gold scalloped frame around my pole at the top just to give it a little bit of extra flair, and it also makes the top a little bit stronger. So basically what I did is I took a scalloped circle punch. This one was 2 1/4. You could go a little bit bigger if you have it, but you need to make sure that it's bigger than the circle that you have used to make your hole on your tag. So I took my 2 1/4 inch scallop circle, punched it out, and then used the same circle die that I used on my tag to cut out the circle from my scallop. And then I'm just going to use some art glitter glue because I don't want to have to try and put score tape on, and now I'm not going to be able to get this out. It's been working. I've used this a lot and it's been working fine, and now there we go. I'm like, and now it's not going to work for me. So it's just easier in this case to use the wet glue to get it onto all of the scallops. If you have a Xyron, you could run this through your Xyron. That would be quick and easy too, and very durable. I'm out of adhesive on my Xyron. I need to get some more of that. Alrighty. And so then you just want to kind of frame your circle out with this. This is another reason why wet glue kind of makes it easy, because you want it just to outline your circle. Adds just a little bit of extra touch at the top and adds some durability to the hole and to the top part of the tag. So very quick, very simple. So when I made all of these, I don't know if I said this yet or not, but when I made all these, I just made them from scraps. Kind of was just working through the scraps, trying to figure out what they would be good for. I didn't intend to do them as any kind of, I didn't think of them as any kind of bundle form, but once I had them all done, I realized that they all coordinated really well, which of course they are, because they're all made from the same paper pack, right? But I was thinking that if you wanted to do a homemade gift set or a home, baked goodie set of some kind, you could totally use these items, package up some home baked goodies, and bundle them in like a gift basket or box or something, and gift them like that. I'm actually selling these all individually at my craft shows, but after I got them made, I realized you could totally do like a little gift bundle with them. Pricing. I know you guys have asked me about pricing for these types of things at my craft shows. I kind of went on a tangent last week about the items that you make from scraps. You don't price them differently because they're made from scraps. You use the same amount of time, same amount of materials, and the same process. So you would, just because they're scraps doesn't mean that you would price them any differently. So, but I also want to say that none of these are high dollar items either. So you're not going to be able to charge a whole lot for them. You could definitely upgrade any of these items. You could use a little more elaborate packaging for your hot cocoa, throw in some Starbucks instead of Nestle, and maybe add some other treats and marshmallows to it, and you could definitely charge more. I don't add a whole lot, so mine are fairly inexpensive. My hot cocoa packets, all of these I actually do like tiered pricing. So for the hot cocoa packets, it's like one packet for $1.50, or you can get two for $2.50. And a lot of times if people buy two, they actually buy like 4 or 6, because they end up buying them for their kids' teachers or their nieces and nephews or whatever. The wine tags, I kind of do the same thing, $1.50 each or 2 for $2.50. And one reason to do tiered pricing is because it encourages them to buy more. Like, why would you not buy one extra thing if you're going to save like 25 or 50 cents? So just that kind of psychological mindset of knowing that you're going to save more by buying more encourages people to buy more at your craft show. So I tend to do that on a lot of the little items. The bread wraps, I have like 3 tiers of pricing. So you can get, they're 75 cents each, or 6 for $4, or 12 for $6. So the more you buy, again with these, definitely the more you save. And I have people that sometimes buy 2 dozen of them, because they're gifting them. They make quick bread to give to all of their family and friends, so they will just buy 2 dozen at a time. So the tiered pricing for those are a little bit different. I've not actually ever sold the nugget packs, so I need to figure out what I want to charge for these for tomorrow. Because I have others that I'm going to include with those, but I need to figure out the pricing on those. And then the tags, I'm not sure of either. I do make like smaller tags Some of them are just like individual tags and some are in packets, but they're usually smaller. So I need to think about like what I want to charge for these. And actually, because they're bigger, I might actually just put them in a little small cellophane bag and price them differently than the other individual ones that are in my little basket. So that's how I would price all of these, or how I will be pricing them tomorrow in my show. You guys probably won't be seeing this until after the weekend, but I needed to film it before our craft show just in case that they did sell. So hopefully you guys got some more ideas either for a craft show or for a homemade, like home-baked goodie gift bundle. I think these would be good for either way. And if you're making them to sell at a craft show, you could also push them. You know, like that's one thing you can do is try and sell them more, is to say, oh, you know, well, if you're doing this, you could also grab one of these, and one of these and throw it into a gift basket, and you have like a ready-made packaged gift. So just an idea, a little promotional idea for you there. But that's what I had today, guys. If you have any questions on anything, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you're having a crafty week.